Let's talk about second impact syndrome and why it's potentially so catastrophic. My name is Hillary. I am a licensed and certified speech language pathologist who specializes in concussion and cognitive rehabilitation. So I've talked about it a couple times in videos, and second impact syndrome, very briefly, is just when you sustain an injury and then you sustain a second impact, second injury, and this can actually potentially lead to death. This is why I say it is catastrophic sometimes. Barry really does not want to participate, so I'm going to go let him wander. So why is it so catastrophic? Well, the first thing is that within the actual first impact, the first brain injury concussion that you have, your brain releases a just metabolic cascade. Chemicals are just pouring out of your brain. Neurotransmitters, things you've heard of like calcium and potassium. Just what's left is kind of what we consider neurotoxic to you. So it's just not your normal. And what that is it's harder for your brain to function. That's where a lot of symptoms can come from. But what that means is that your brain is very vulnerable at that point. And then if you sustain even a second slight impact within minutes, sometimes hours or days after, but that's less likely kind of the longer your brain has to heal. But within minutes after you go out and you sustain a secondary injury, your brain can basically shut down. It loses its ability to auto-regulate the blood supply to the brain. And once it can't regulate how much blood is going in and out of the brain, all of a sudden the brain gets flooded. So we have this massive amounts of fluid in the brain, and the vessels and the capillaries and things can't hold on to all of it, so it floods the brain tissue itself. You then get massive edema of the brain tissue, and then you get herniation. So when your brain is herniating, it is a medical emergency. And in most cases, if this is happening, you are nowhere near a hospital or within minutes of a hospital, and it very likely will lead to your death or very, very permanent disability. So when we talk about concussion protocol, it's not because we're just total nerds and we're like, you should get better, you should do it our way and you should get better. It's because if you don't consider the risk of something like second impact syndrome and you brush off an injury and you go and you continue, let's say, playing the sport that you're playing, you do have the capacity to end your life, and it's not worth it. So please take care of your brain. If you hurt yourself, make sure that you are taking care of the recovery time as well. Don't participate in high risk things until you are fully ready to go.